Hello, class. It's Miss Roberts here, and tonight we're going to go over the persuasive speech. And of course, if you have any, let's begin. All right, so I'm just going to spend a little bit of time just reviewing persuasive speech requirements. Many of the similar elements that we had for the informative speech, such as incorporating research, making sure we're from an audience, having visual aid is there. I'm going to review the outline because the format is a little bit different. We're going to be using the Merle's motivated sequence. But let's just go over a couple of ground rules. Now, this speech is 6 to 8 minutes, and the presentation is 200, and the outline is 50 points. Now, you can go ahead and break up note cards, as many as you want. And of course, you're going to upload your full sentence outline, which I'm going to show you in a minute. You can use about 3 to 5 sources. If you want to use more than 5, that's fine, but you can't use less than 3 or else you'll be subject to point deductions. We also have some options to perform your speech at this institution. We do have the audience requirement, so you can complete this in one of 2 ways. Now, with option 1, you can go ahead and film your video with your audience members. It can be family and friends, whomever will watch you present your speech, okay? Now, you can also submit that via Canvas upload, and if there are any issues with that, you can upload it via YouTube and provide the link. So those are your 2 options for option number 1. So if you don't want to speak in front of an audience that you know, I'm going to be posting up a couple of Zoom meetings. They may be before the deadline, so just note if you decided this option, your outline has to be done before you speak. That way, when you present your speech, I'll have on another camera or on my tablet, I'll be looking at your outline at the same time. So in order to get credit for that outline, if you do the live option, make sure to have the outline with the references done as well. Make sure you have at least 3 outside sources. No Wikipedia allowed, but make sure to scroll. Say if you use Wikipedia, make sure to scroll down and get the primary source. So that's pretty routine, especially if you've done your informative speech. Now, the speech link won't be here, so this would be a place where you can upload your actual speech document. Excuse me, not the document, I apologize. Upload your speech recording. If you decide to choose the YouTube option, I'll be looking for that on your outline, just so I can find a place to click on the link. Next, we have the outline upload. So remember, we have a full sentence outline. Make sure you have your sources incorporated. You can use MLA or APA format, depending on your preference. Make sure to use at least 3 outside sources, and make sure to refer to previous videos for resources such as Purdue and Moodle tools to help you put it all together. But if you have any questions about that, please let me know. Next, we're going to look at the outline format. So it's going to look a little different because we're using what is called the Monroe's motivated sequence. So there are several different types of speech formats you can use, such as problem solution, problem cost solution, comparative advantage. But what I like about the Monroe's motivated sequence, it seems to take elements from all of those. So with the Monroe's motivated sequence, there are 5 steps: the attention, need, satisfaction, visualization, and action. And all these steps are designed for the audience, or to get the audience to act. So unlike the other speeches where the conclusion is used for the recap, this time the conclusion is the most important part because all those steps that preceded are getting the audience to act, are designed to inspire to get the audience to act, mind you. With the attention getter, you, of course, do what you've been doing. Either have a question, factor stat. If you use factor stats, always cite your source, even though it's in the introduction. The need section is when you state the problem. So you're going to state the problem several ways. The satisfaction section will be the solution. The visualization is a hypothetical situation where you can talk about the positive things that can happen if you implement your solution, the negative things that can happen if you implement your solution, or you can talk about both. But make sure you provide that visualization section there. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes people omit or take out the visualization section. So if there are any questions about any parts of the sequence, let me know. And then, of course, you have to have an action. So let's review the outline just so we can get that squared away. So you have your intention getter and problem thesis statement. Don't be scared by problem thesis statement. It's just pretty much you providing a statement of what the problem is. Remember, thesis statements are statements, so you don't put them in a question. So just make sure to sum up your main ideas or sum up your problem that you're addressing in one sentence. And you can have a brief overview, a brief overview of the entire speech, similar to what we've done before, but just a brief overview. Now here's the needs section. You can use 1, 2, 4, or any combination of these. You can provide statistics, visuals, talk about the problem, describe and illustrate what the problem is, talk about the causes, effects, and the harms that the problem creates, and talk about how does this problem directly affect listeners and communities, how they're harmed by this issue. But because this is a persuasive speech, we are taking a stance on a certain issue. And mind you, when you're choosing your topic, do not choose what I like to call preference topic. Preference topics are fun. I will admit that. So say for instance, Pepsi versus Coca-Cola. I prefer Coca-Cola. It's a very fun speech, but with this particular format, it doesn't lend itself to blue versus pink when we think of our favorite colors, or PlayStation versus the Nintendo Switch. Those are fun conversations, but this doesn't fit into the rules motivate sequence. Topics that fit more so are organizational or social issues. So it has to be a problem that affects people and impacts them negatively. So if you have any questions about is this topic aligning with what you're trying to do, or is this a preference speech, let me know. Then, with that being said, because this is argumentative in nature, even though you are giving information and providing stats and sources, just like you did for the previous speech, you're taking a stance. So because you're taking a stance, there is an opposing viewpoint. So when we are trying to persuade, not only are we speaking to the choir of the people who agree with us, but we are also speaking to an audience or audience members that might not agree with us. So by meeting those objections, we are acknowledging their point of view, understanding it, and then rebuilding on our point of view as well. So whatever problem you're stating in the meeting objection section, talk about the opposing point of view. Then they're satisfying the need. They frame problem and solution as need and satisfaction, because with the need section, especially since it's more extensive, you're creating a sense of psychological urgency to act. So because you created that psychological tension within the audience, you have to relieve that psychological tension by stating the solution. So you're going to have your solution thesis statement here, state your solution, and then you can also have visuals, talk about why the solution is more reasonable, what are some of the advantages of your solution. One thing to note about this section, you want to research where has this worked before. So there's that comparative advantage that we're talking about, where say if you're trying to change a state law, you can look to other states that have the law that you want. If you want to change something at your institution, you can see to other colleges or see which other colleges have implemented your solution. If you're trying to change a federal law, advocate for a change for federal law or policy, you can look at other countries that do the same thing. Now, this is the section I was talking about, so I'm going to highlight it right here so we can all see. Sometimes, on occasion, maybe 1 or 2 papers per class, people just take this out, and I want you to get all of your points. So visualization is a very brief section, so it's not too long, or doesn't have to be, but you're providing a hypothetical situation to where we're imagining what can happen, what if, or let's imagine. So usually the transition starts off like that, and we're going to talk about or describe a scenario where we're implementing your solution. Or you can talk about, hey, if we don't implement your solution, what will happen? Or you can talk about both, but you do need that section right there. And all of these lead up to the conclusion. What do you want us to do? In my in-person classes, I do a brief experiment. I ask my audience, do they like animals? Many of them do. Then I also ask my class, well, how many of you have a pet? Many of them do. And then I follow up the question, how many of you have rescued your pet? A lot of them still raise their hands. So I'm like, okay, since I'm your teacher, can you donate $100 each person? Each student donate $100 to me and I'll give it to my shelter. Now, of course, I don't take anybody's money. And as of yet, only one person actually reached for their wallet, which is very generous, by the way. But I do those questions and I have those demonstrations to show that yes, that was a specific action, but it wasn't doable. Especially, I can't hit up $100 per student in we're college. I didn't have $100 myself, but I can say, may I have $5, a dollar? Or instead of asking for a denomination, I can go ahead and show them the website where they can donate the money and donate whatever they deem fit. So with the call to action, make sure it's specific and doable for the class to follow. So with these concrete instructions, you can talk about where to find more information. You can talk about where to boycott or where to find their congressperson or where to contribute their money to. So make sure the action is doable and is specific. And then you have your concluding statement. For the outline grade, overall spelling, grammar, formatting, organization is 5 points. The intro is 10. The body section with and text citations is 20 points. The conclusion is 10 points. And the source citations, whether it be in MLA or APA format, is 5 points. I look forward to hearing your speeches. Definitely let me know if you have any questions. There are a lot of similar elements from this speech to the informative speech, just a couple of changes, especially with the new Monroe's motivated sequence. Sometimes people deviate from the outline, so make sure if you have any questions or don't have access to the outline, let me know because you want to make sure to not turn this into a formatted informative speech, or I don't want to see any weird other outlines. I'm like, where does this come from? So let me know if you have any questions and make sure that you can access the outline provide. All right. Well, have a great evening. I look forward to hearing your speeches and let me know if you have any questions. All right. Bye, everyone.